It was a rainy night. The streets were wet and quiet, with only the sound of raindrops hitting the asphalt. I was on my way home when my eyes caught something on the side of the road. A black cat lying weakly, its body soaked, and there was a wound on its leg. I couldn't leave it there. Carefully, I lifted it into my arms. It was shivering, its breathing weak. I knew that if I didn't help it soon, it might not survive. I took it home, dried its wet fur, and treated its wounds. It took a long time for it to start trusting me. At first, it always avoided me, looking at me with eyes full of fear. But I knew. Behind the look in its eyes, there was a desire to survive. Days passed. I named it Shadow, because its fur was as black as the night. Slowly, it began to open up to me. It followed my steps to the kitchen, slept in the corner of my room, and sometimes rubbed its head against my hand. At that moment, I knew that it had accepted me as part of its life. But I realized I couldn't take care of him forever. I wanted him to have a better life, a place where he could play freely and not have to worry about the outside world. So I contacted my brother who lived in another city. They agreed to take care of Shadow. Letting him go wasn't easy. When the day of our farewell arrived, I held him for the last time, whispering promises that this was for his own good. Shadow just stared at me, as if he knew that this was the end of our time together. At the airport, I handed him over to the officer. As his cage was taken away, my heart felt empty. I took a deep breath, trying to convince myself that this was the best decision. A few days later, the news hit me like a thunderbolt. The plane carrying Shadow had crashed. It crashed in the middle of the forest. I couldn't breathe when I heard it. I tried to find information, but no one could confirm whether all the passengers, including the animals on board, were safe. My chest tightened. The thought that Shadow might be alone in the middle of the forest, injured, starving, drove me crazy. I couldn't sit still. I had to find him. I started researching the crash site, reading rescue reports, trying to contact anyone who could help me. Some rescue teams said there was a possibility that some animals survived and were roaming the forest. That was enough for me to make up my mind. I was going there. I was going to find Shadow, no matter what. Before I knew it, this was the beginning of my long journey. A journey that would change my life forever.